Hi, I'm Lori Coates, BCBA for Davis School District.
I'm Jocelyn Ruiz, also BCBA for Davis School District.
And I'm Crystal Martin, another BCBA with Davis School District.
Welcome back to another episode of the BATE Debate, where our group of behavior analysts share stories and strategies about responding to student behaviors when working in schools. Today we're talking about how all of the strategies that we talk about here frequently on our podcast apply in real life. And to help us with that, we have a special guest joining us today. We have Coach Andrew Scott from Legends Boxing. So, Coach, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, guys. I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for having me. My name's Andrew Scott. I am the co-founder of Legends Boxing and a current franchisee of 3 different locations. I've been coaching boxing for about 16 years.
Good times. Good
Yeah.
times. Let's jump right into some of the concepts that we talk about here in the BATE Debate. One of the things that we talk frequently about is how students need positive relationships with teachers and teachers need positive relationships with students. Having that back and forth is so critical for managing generalized behavior as well as more extremely challenging behavior for teachers. So, Coach, how do you apply building relationships with the people that go to your gym, and how does that help in teaching new skills?
Well, love that question. It's not the easiest thing to do in a lot of certain circumstances and scenarios and places, but in the boxing gym, fortunately, I have a couple of things going for me. I have the individual that they're interested in coming to the gym, number one. So that helps automatically. This is, they saw something that probably was an ad on Instagram or some social media platform, and then they signed up for it, and then they wanted to come. So that kind of helps automatically. Then number 2, the biggest thing that I think that I do is I adhere to our core values. Okay, so at Legends, we have 3 core values. It's belong, it's real, and it's results. And we start at the very first one. So my number 1 core value is to make everyone who walks in my door feel like they're welcome. There's a thing that we do at Legends is we try to separate ourselves from the boxing industry, where most boxing gyms, you kind of have to prove yourself to get any recognition or to have the coach even pay attention to you. At Legends, you are someone immediately when you walk in the door. And so that's number 1. That kind of breaks the ice. That kind of takes away some of the anxiety, because let's face it, you're walking into a boxing gym. You're going to be nervous. There's going to be some anxiety there. And so we help kind of reduce that right out the door. So I think that's the biggest skill that I provide, is that kind of comfortability, that making you feel like we absolutely want you there, that this is really going to be at your speed, and you're going to be able to handle all of it.
Yeah, I noticed that going straight in, how I was nervous, of course, because I wasn't a boxer, so I wanted to, now I'll say I'm a boxer.
100%.
But I wanted to feel comfortable, and one thing I noticed right away is the coaches all learn everybody's name. Like, they really spend time knowing who you are, and after or before class will ask what you do, those kinds of things, and it's a good belonging place.
Good.
That's
I'm
for
glad
sure.
that you noticed that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
All right, so another one of the concepts that we talk a lot about on the podcast is positive reinforcement, and this includes using behavior-specific praise. So things like, I really liked how you did this, you did really well doing this, and we talk about using positive reinforcement to teach new concepts or to reinforce the steps that you're doing really well. And using positive reinforcement helps boost self-esteem as well as build confidence. So before I ask you your question, I want to talk about a story a personal experience that I had, where at Legends we do these things, luckily not in the winter, but Legends laps, where we have to run a certain amount or a certain distance around the building. And this specific time, there were sprints involved with the running. And when I came back from my second lap, the coach that was coaching that day, she commented on how fast my sprint was, and already going into the second lap, I was like, I don't want to do this. But when she told me that, I was like, oh, I can do that again. Yeah, you are right. I was really fast. And so that felt really good for me to hear that from her. So, how do you see positive reinforcement as a critical element of teaching and motivating people?
I couldn't see it as anything more important, and you just, with your story, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That solidifies it right there. And believe it or not, there's kind of a fun story that goes behind this. Is like I said, I've been coaching boxing for about 15 years, and when my brother and I, we're the founders of the company. We started this together. And one of the very first things that I said to him when we went into business to start a boxing gym and really try to bring it to the thing is I said, I am a boxing coach. I'm not an aerobics instructor. And I want to make sure that that is something that's in every one of our classes, is that we're coaching boxing. So fast forward a few years, I'm, in my zone, I'm doing my job, and my brother was sitting there like just kind of kicking back like a fly on the wall, didn't even notice that he was there, and he was observing how I was coaching. And after class, he just was like, hey, can I give you some constructive feedback? I said, absolutely. He says, Andrew, I notice you're an amazing coach. You are so engaged to every single person that's in there. But one thing that I didn't hear you do at all was compliment what they were doing. Mm-hmm. He said, you are so quick to helping them get better and to improving what they're doing, but there are so many things in all of what they just did that were really good, and you're just focused on the one. Mm-hmm. And I really took that to heart. I mean, I really did. And I went, you know what? Nobody really likes to say thank you to their brother when they're giving them constructive feedback, especially when it's their older brother. But right. I couldn't appreciate him more for bringing that to my attention. And so as we expanded as a company and I became what's called the national head coach, because we're now a franchise, part of my teaching and something that I instill in every single coach for the last 5 years has been, we establish positive criticism. You are going to give 2 compliments before you give any criticism on anything that they're doing, because he's absolutely right. Everything that we put you guys through in that gym is difficult. It's hard. You have to push yourself. You are showing yourself what you're capable of doing every single time. And then if you have a coach that's sitting there going, oh, well, you could have picked your knee up a little better, or you could have rotated your foot a little bit more, instead of going, that was amazing. I am so proud that you are now not doing push-ups on your knees anymore. It's those kinds of things that instill that in the individual. It just makes confidence just ooze out of them, and it really encourages them to want to push harder the next time that you are challenging them to do something. So, yeah, thanks for asking that.
Yeah, no, and something else that Lori and I talk about often is, so we've been going at 5:30 in the mornings, which is not easy to go, first of all. No. And we also have been going on Fridays because Coach Andrew is teaching on Friday mornings. Which Fridays are the least convenient day for us to go because it's the busiest day that we have at work. But it is because he is so reinforcing, and he points out those positive things that you're doing that makes you want to keep going and showing up every day.
Can I say just one more thing about that on more of just a personal note? When my brother actually pulled me aside and told me this, and then I started doing it, it didn't just change the environment of the class, it changed me. It changed how I looked at things, it changed how I viewed things, it changed what it was I was seeing in the individual and how really good they were doing. And it made it that much easier for me to compliment, just even if it didn't have anything to do with boxing. Like, wow, I really like your hair that day, or wow, those are really awesome shoes, right? Wow. It took away that anxiety that people get sometimes when they want to give someone a compliment, but then they hesitate because they don't know how that person's going to receive the compliment. Now, I don't care. I just give it all the time. And so, like, that's something I just want to, hopefully people can understand, that it doesn't just change the person that you're doing it to, it changes you also.
100%. We talk about that all the time with relationships.
Yeah. So I kind of wanted to ask you about when you're thinking of teaching a group. So in schools, we think about ways that we can motivate students, and so we use group contingencies, and that's giving the students as a whole, like a goal to work toward, or a reinforcer that they have to work together, so they end up with some positive peer pressure. And I don't go to Legends Boxing. Maybe one day they'll talk me into it. Yet. But they've talked about how they've seen some of that when they're at the gym by if someone lowers their weights or their arms, then everyone has to start all over. What are some other ways that you see using that group motivation when you're coaching a class?
So we do that in just about, I'd say probably 80% of our things that we do. It's a class environment. We work together as a class. We don't just encourage the one individual to do their best. We encourage the class. We encourage the person to encourage the person next to you in the class. There are workouts that we put together specifically that group people up so that you have to work together as a team. These are all things that are just building group like camaraderie. We're building a tribe is what we call it. And it's also helping to achieve results that you just never even knew that you came into the gym for, which is like positive, peer pressure, just like that, right? Like,
Right.
We've been able to, I really am going to try to do my very best to not toot Legends horn, but we've been able to, off of very minimal marketing, like we do digital marketing for social media, and we do referral, friend and family, email blasts, those kinds of things. And we've been able to expand into multiple states and expand as a franchise off of no radio ads, commercials, none of that stuff, because we enforce that tribe to go talk to your family, to go talk to your coworkers, bring them in and let them experience in them for themselves so they can see. And right there, that positive peer pressure, people are like nervous about it, and then they try it, and then they find out how awesome it really was, right? And so yeah, it's something that I don't want to say I necessarily put a lot of thought into it. It's just something that kind of really organically happens because of the environment that we just maintain all the time.
Yeah.
One other thing that we talk about, which may seem a little bit different to you, maybe not, maybe you're going to be like, well, of course. But we talk a lot about really creating predictable schedules for students, like how important it is that people know this is coming, that students can kind of prepare for, this might be bad, but after that I get recess, right? Those kinds of things, really decreasing anxiety and that sort of thing. I've noticed at Legends that the workout of the day sometimes brings me some anxiety initially because I see burpees or something really fun like that. Or dragon walks, that's my least
Let's go.
favorite. He's going to put that on tomorrow's workout. I can feel it now. But I notice it increases some anxiety, but also decreases my anxiety because I know also that what I have next and how long that's going to take and that sort of thing. So for you, how do you see having that structured workout being supportive for your clients?
Oh, a lot. So like I truly believe the daily workout, it holds so much power, like an unbelievable amount of power for retention, for the ability, for engagement, for learning, to developing your skills. So I do create the daily workouts for my 3 gym locations. I do not do it for a corporate level or at a corporate level. I do it for my 3 gym locations. And I put a lot of heart and soul and time into the preparation of these workouts, but certain things that I want to make sure that I'm constantly doing to provide that, exactly what you're talking about, is the forecasting, the reduction of anxiety, the excitement, right? Like there's a fine line between excitement and anxiety, right? And you can teeter it one way or another. And where you could be, anxious about the fact that you got to do dragon walks, but then your excitement for getting them done and knowing you accomplished them is right there, right?
Right.
So the things in the workouts, how I prepare them is that I try to prepare what I'm trying to make a goal of, remember, because I'm a boxing coach, not a fitness instructor. My boxing mentality is you need to be training 6 days a week. And so I'm trying to make a 6-day-a-week pattern or routine that will cover you from head to toe, and you don't need another gym membership. Unless you want to go lift weights and, go do like heavy lifting, like that kinds of stuff, that's a different story. But my job is to try to create a workout that's going to give you that each day of the week.
Yeah.
I'm not going to duplicate my muscle groups. I'm not going to overwork my muscle groups. I'm going to do 60% of the class is going to be boxing versus conditioning. Like, these are things that I try to really put together as I do that, specifically for that. And what you'll do is see people that, like you're very proud of those workouts. You get through
Yeah.
those workouts, you're proud of it. Like I said, there's nothing easy about what we do. And so being able to get through that hour at your pace it's rewarding.
Right.
Right? And so when I'm putting together those workouts, I do put a lot of thought into that. I put a lot of thought also into the coach too, like especially the member coaches that you guys talk about, right? Member coaches, they're only coaching twice a week, like where Emmy or Kai or Chance, they're coaching 7, 8, 10 times a week, right? So when you're a member coach, you're coaching twice a week. I'm trying to make something that is engaging for them. It's not boring. It's something that they can really have a good time for their 2 times a week to come in and interact with you guys and display our core values and do all of those things, right? So yeah, I mean, I really do pride myself on those workouts. I pride myself on how I put them together, but there is definitely, it's a format, but it's also kind of like a, kind of drawn from a hat format too, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah, I kind of go back in time, kind of see what we've done, try to not over duplicate the same workouts. I try to be innovative and come up with new things that you guys will, come into the gym and look at the board and go, oh, what the heck is that? We've never done that before, right? And so
I've seen that before.
Right, and I think all of these things play a huge part in why you guys keep coming back.
I think
right?
so too.
Like
Yeah.
that's the goal.
And enjoy it, right?
And,
Yeah.
and have fun.
All right, so another strategy in behavior analysis is modeling. And this is when we demonstrate a desired skill by showing somebody how to do it before we expect them to engage in that behavior. So at Legends, coaches always model the workout or the exercise that they want us to do before having us perform it. What are some things that you do to help make this modeling effective for members?
So I try to touch on the multiple ways people learn, right? Like people learn visually or through hearing. And so I try to teach my coaches, and I try to stick to the same model of you're going to verbally explain what you want them to do, and then you're going to show them exactly how you want it to be done, right? Not just a kind of like, oh, well, I want you guys to do this and half, throw the punches and half do this. No, like really emphasize the body movement. This is exactly what I want to see done. And then you reinforce that by going around to each individual and helping to make sure that they know they are doing what you want them to do. And if there's any additional tweaks or things that you want to do, then there's where the constructive criticism or the feedback's going to come from. So I think that goes in hand with everything that we apply in life, but it's not even just modeling the movement, it's modeling the clothes, right? Like part of the stuff we sell in our pro shop is a coach's uniform, right? And so having a coach be required to wear Legends equipment, showing up, presenting the new stuff, right? Like even that is modeling what we're trying to get across inside of the gym. So.
Yeah, that's great.
When I think about what you may do when you're teaching in your gym, and thinking about when we're teaching students, we use a strategy called shaping. And so it's taking a complex skill and how can we break it down into smaller steps to reinforce those smaller steps as they get closer and closer to the overall complex skill. So if you think about what you can do to reinforce smaller steps for a new boxer to get to the larger step, how would you implement that kind of strategy?
It's a great question. And boxing, as you two know very well, it's very complex. It is very complex. But with every complexity, there's a basics to it, right? You start at some point, and then you build your abilities up and your muscles up or whatever the thing you're doing. So in boxing, what I've learned, one of the things that I was challenged with it very early on in my career of coaching was taking this very complex sport and simplifying it to where you can teach it to everyone, not just that athletic person that walks into the gym and just understands these concepts like this and can just roll with it, right? Like, I went, okay, well, how am I going to do this? And so I started at the floor. That's the biggest thing. I start at the ground, right? So if you guys remember your very first day that you walked in, the very first thing you were asked, are you right or left-handed? Right. And then we put you into a boxing stance. And then we taught you how to move inside that boxing stance. And then we started teaching you the punches. And we probably only taught you a few punches, just enough to put you into the class with us so that you're not overwhelmed and now you're having to think of 5,000 different things in this really like anxiety-ridden, nervous class that you just jumped into with 15 other people and some scary coach yelling at you the whole time, right? So it's we bring it down to the smallest possible denominator, and then we just keep working on that one thing over and over and over until the muscle memory is developed, and then now we move on to the next thing, right? And so each class that someone comes to, the person themselves is going to take something away differently each class. And that's one of the other awesome things about the way we run our boxing gym is that you can have 20 people in there and all 20 people are going to walk out with a different experience or have learned something completely different. And so the thing I always teach my coaches, right, like say you have somebody who's been there for 6 months and, you know, the coaches they're asking the coach a question and then like a coach will come up and ask me, hey, my member asked this and how can I help them better with this? And my number one thing that I always say is go back to the basics, right? Go back to day one. Go look at their feet, see what's happening in their stance, see what's happening in their movement, right? And so in anything that we really kind of do in life, transitioning that to school or anything like that, right? If you're struggling with something that you're just not able to grasp the concept or get to the finish line right away, well, go back to the beginning, right? Like go back to where you started and retrace your steps and see where that's going to get you. And you might along the way find something that I misstepped this, or I didn't do this, or I didn't add this, or I forgot this. And then that ingredient turns it into a beautiful wedding cake, right? And so that's kind of like my philosophy when I coach anybody is no matter how advanced you are, if you're struggling with something, I'm sure we're missing some part of the basics that we need to re-implement or reinforce.
We talk with teachers about that all the time when it comes to behavior and social challenges. Is sometimes you got to get back to those basic parts.
100%.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Bait Debate. We really want to thank Drew for attending today. It was great to talk about those behavioral concepts and how they apply in like a real life setting. So we have many more topics like we've talked about to keep you reeled in throughout the year. So like and share us on all the platforms and we'll catch you next round.